The AAPC's CPC examination now has an online exam option, and if you're someone who's about to sit for the exam, you might be wondering what's better for you, the online or the in-person exam. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of both of them. Hey everyone, I'm Victoria, and if you're new to my channel, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button right now because every week I am here providing tips, tricks, tutorials to help you succeed in a medical coding career. The CPC exam has been the most popular coding credential for a long time, and for a long time you could only take it in person at an exam that was proctored by one of the AAPC's local chapters or through an instructor that had permission to proctor exams independently because of their relationship with the AAPC. But because of some of the changes that went on with COVID-19, getting those exams online got really expedited. CPC examinees now have the option of taking the exam online proctored for $299 for one attempt, or in person for $399, which you get 2 attempts. Now there's a lot of things that are going to be common between both of exams. You're still going to need all of your paper books. Just because you're taking the exam maybe online through an online proctor, they're still going to have you open up your book and flip through it to make sure that you don't have any Post-it notes, any extra pages in there, that you haven't whited out an entire page and written notes in there, because that is not allowed in the exam. So they're going to have you flip through all of your books to check through them. And the books you can use are the same. You have to use the AMA edition only of the CPT, and then your choice of ICD-10-CM and your choice of HCPCS books. And both are multiple choice timed exams. So let's start with some of the pros for the online exam. So one of the big pros is that no one will see you taking the exam, so you don't have to worry about any nosy coworkers that might be also there sitting for another exam, or that anyone will see you that may have that you may work with, or might get that word back to someone that you work with. So if you're the type of person that you don't want people to know that you're sitting for your CPC exam and you want to be private about it and then only say something until maybe after you've passed, the online option might be good for you, because then you don't have to worry that anyone but you is going to know that you're taking the exam. Another perk of the online exam option is that a lot of people are less anxious. There's a lot less that can maybe go wrong. When you're in an in-person proctored exam, there's a lot of things around that are uncontrollable. If an alarm goes off, if a baby is born because you're taking it at the hospital and they play the lullaby, if there's a fire drill, if there's, a lot of people and they're chewing and shuffling, or, eating something smelly that they weren't supposed to bring. So there's a lot of uncontrollable environmental things that you can probably have a little bit more control of if you're taking them online, because you're in your own space that you have control of. So you might be a little bit less anxious because there's less stuff going on around you. And some examinees have actually reported that they move through faster because they're not sitting there filling out all of those little bubbles. They can just kind of, it's quieter, they're in control of the environment, and they actually wind up going through the exam a little bit faster. Now, the pros of the in-person exam is that you get breaks and you get snacks. When you are taking the online proctored exam, it's in 2 sections. It's in section 1 and section 2, and you take them at 2 different times. You can schedule them back to back if you want, or you can schedule them at whatever is convenient for you to take that second one. With the online exam, though, being in 2 sections, you can complete section 1, you can move around in section 1, but once you're done with section 1 and you finish that up and move on to section 2, you can't go back to section 1 and re-answer questions. So you can move around in the exam, but only in that section that you're taking at the time. So another pro of the in-person exam is that you can flip back and forth as much as you want through the entire exam. Also, with the in-person exam, you can take papers in, but you have to hand them in at the end because you can't take any papers that you wrote stuff on out with you. But you can write in your exam booklet, you can highlight things, you can cross things out, you can white stuff out. You can't do that in the online exam. In the online exam, you're allowed to take like a whiteboard, and you can show the online proctor your whiteboard that there's nothing on it, nothing on the back of it. And, if you want to do process of elimination markings on the whiteboard, you can do that and then erase it afterwards and then show them that it's erased. With the in-person exam, if you need that paper, then you might want to go with the in-person exam because that's the only option you're going to have to be able to write stuff down. And with the online exam, even though it's a little bit more, you do get those 2 attempts. So if you don't pass that first attempt, you can go back around for a second. Now for some of the cons. So one of the cons of the online exam is there's some tech needs. You have to have an external webcam. So let me just move you guys over here for a second. So I have an external webcam. It's a Logitech, which is a pretty common type. So I can move this around to show everyone what is going on in my office. I can show them my desk by positioning that webcam around. You can't do that with like a laptop camera. So here's my laptop. It would be harder to move my whole laptop around to show you what's going on in my room and what's going on in the environment, if anyone else is in there, if there's papers on my desk, etc. So you have to be a little bit familiar with that equipment, how to use it, and then just using online exams, like you have to know how to navigate through them, use your computer, click those radio buttons or whatever they are to select the right answer. With the online exam, you also need to have a private, undisturbed space. So if you're in a space where your kids are constantly running around or your dog, you might not have the availability to have a private, undisturbed space for a long period of time. And again, you only get that 1 attempt. Now, some of the cons of the in-person exam is that bubble grid that you have to fill in. So there's been examinees that if you're on question 10 and you go, I'm going to skip this one and go on to question 11, and you go back to fill your bubble grid though for question 11, you put it at the wrong spot, messes up your whole bubble grid. You're reliant on making sure that everything is aligned correctly on your bubble grid, that you filled it in, dark enough, that you didn't miss a spot, that you didn't accidentally, mean to skip over a question and then went to the next one and started filling out and you filled it in wrong. Because there are examinees who have said that, I think I failed the exam because I missed something on the bubble grid and got everything all out of whack with my answers to the questions. And again, you're going to have those uncontrollable distractions with the in-person exam. I have a friend that proctored an exam once that told me that she had a examinee that was so anxious, she actually passed out during the exam and they had to go and get medical help. So they had to stop the exam for everyone that was taking it, stop the clock and then restart it, call the AAPC, explain what happened. But those kind of things can make everyone else then a little bit more anxious about their examination. And you can find out all of the details about what is required for the online versus the in-person exams on the AAPC website, because it might change after I make this video. So definitely check that out for the regulations that are up to date and current for when you're watching this video. If it was me and I was a new coder just sitting for my CPC exam, I would probably go with the online option because that would be, for me personally, a good option. I have a private office, I know I have the tech, and I would feel more comfortable filling in an online because I'm more of a tech savvy person. If I was someone who doesn't, who I'm like, I like paper, which for certain things I do. When I outline my videos, I do it all in paper. But if I was someone who's like, no, I want that paper, I want to cross things out and highlight things and circle things and write nasty notes in the margins of the exam book, which you can do, I would probably go with the in-person exam for that reason. But what would you do? Are you taking your CPC exam? And if so, are you going to do it online or are you going to do it in person? Let me know in the comments section and give me a reason. Why are you choosing that option? I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And again, don't forget to subscribe, and you're going to want to hit that notification bell because that'll give you an alert every time I post a new video, because sometimes, I don't know, I might sneak a new one in and you won't know about it unless you've got that alert. I will see you in the next video, and until then, just keep on coding on.